what we do is the previous guest asks the next guest a question.
Oh, brilliant.
And that's what we end on. So last week I had Nathan Collins on, who won the World Cup for Wheelchair Rugby League.
Oh, brilliant.
He was in the team that won the World Cup for it.
He's from Hull?
No, so he's from Leeds.
Okay.
So but we did that one over Zoom.
Brilliant. Yeah.
But,
nice one.
His question for you was, who is the most famous person that you've ever met?
Oh, man. It depends. Because it's like, I guess if he was going to say politically, I interviewed Kofi Annan, who was the former Secretary General for the UN.
Right.
He came during the City of Culture year, and we did like a Kofi on Kofi thing. Spoke about
nice.
What is freedom about. He spoke to the Youth Parliament when he was down, and obviously Hull is a city of sanctuary. So he spoke about what that meant. He looked at the legacy of Wilberforce coming from Hull, and we spoke about, we're both Ghanaian, just spoke about backgrounds and stuff. And he met the entire Ghanaian community. Well, I said a lot of the Ghanaian community came out. We had a huge traditional procession, and everyone in the kente cloth and the drum. We had a drumming group, and so it was beautiful. Do you know what I mean? He met my parents and all sorts. So I'd probably say Kofi Annan. I'm like, there's been which musicians? We've interviewed quite a few musicians. Emily Sandé. Did we do? Who did Sean Paul? No, we saw Sean Paul at Big Weekend.
Right.
Grimmy, Greg James. Who else have we done? There's been loads. Charlie Sloth. I've met a lot of people within the industry.
Yeah.
Clara Amfer. I've met Reggie Yates. What's he called? Chris Moyles. I'm listening to other radio people now.
It's fair. They're the ones I'd be expecting. Yeah.
God, I don't know. I'm just trying to think. Jeremy Irons, have interviewed him. Who else as well? God, I don't know. But I'll probably say Kofi Annan.
Yeah.
And then maybe Greg James. I've met him quite a few times. Quite a lot of people from like Radio 1 at various like radio events and Radio Academy stuff, and they've been amazing. I remember like Greg James started following me on Twitter, and I was like, oh my god, you know what I mean? Oh, this is it, because I did get the chance to speak to him, but then he sent me a message like, oh, sorry mate, he was doing a talk, and I think he was getting joie. I think it's just been announced that they quite recently started the breakfast show, and was going to talk to each other. But then, like, he had to go, and, like, I was getting called by my editor because I had to get ready for the interview I was doing. And he was like, right, I'll try and catch you later. But he sent me a message. Didn't have to do this. He didn't have to do it all. I was like, oh, mate, sorry about that, mate. You know what I mean? It was a really busy day. Nice to see you, but, like, speak to you soon. And then I had, like, Greg James follow me. I was like, wow, this is crazy. Do you know what I mean? I saw him. We did an interview with him when he was down for the Big Weekend, the BBC Radio Academy. And I didn't really realise he could play the piano really well. I was within this tiny room. We'd just done an interview with O Wonder. And he came in with... I forgot his name. He used to introducing...
I've already... I don't know.
Oh, I forgot his name. This is really, I feel really bad. Hugh...
I'll find out and I'll put it on.
It was Hugh. What's his... I can't remember his name. But then they were just in there, and then Greg James is just playing the piano and stuff. But yeah, that was a good one, because we had like Bastille down. We interviewed Bastille, you me at 6, and there was just loads of people that weekend, and throughout going to visit. I went and sat in a couple of times on Trevor Nelson's show after I interviewed him when he did the this big concert at the Bridlington Spa, and like managed to sort of like go down. I was like, oh, I'm trying to find Trevor. Can I have a chat with him? And one of the producers that was part of the event was like, yeah, come on, we'll find him. And we had a chat and stuff. And I was just like, can I come and sit in on your show and see how you do things? Because, you were such a lifeline for me. My sister's growing up in Withensea and things. But that's a very hard question. I'm going to leave here and I'll be like, oh, I should have said, do you know what I mean? Oh, I should have said about this person and stuff. But yeah.
Who would you say either Greg or Kofi were like your highlights of that list then?
I think Kofi Annan, because growing up in Withensea, knowing that there was this other person called Kofi, even though I knew there was a lot of Kofis, I never saw Kofi on TV. Very rarely seen black people on TV, like growing up in the mid-90s and stuff. Like Kofi Annan was this prominent, I guess, political figure that my parents and all the family members would talk about. You see him in the news and stuff like that. So I was like, that's really, really cool. And I guess his legacy as well, the work that he'd done as as Secretary General of the UN, and he was. It was quite funny because, and I could tell this story now. I remember we was posing for a picture after the chat, and he's Kofi Annan. So I'm thinking, we just had this really cool conversation. We're like BFFs now. Do you know what I mean? Do I put my hand around him or not? So I'm there, stood next to him, and he's like this dude in a suit, this old dude in a suit, grey hair, really refined, really dignified, really warm, gracious energy. And I'm there trying to figure out, do I put my hand around his waist or his shoulder? And he just looks at me like, kind of like how, your granddad would look at you where he's like, come on, sort yourself out. He goes, put your hand down. And like, I remember my videographer, Ben, seeing him be like, oh no, he just got told off by Kofi Annan. And I was just there like, yeah, okay. So I just sort of crossed my hand in front of me like a kid that should be told that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that moment will stick with me forever. Because I remember telling my friends about it, telling my parents about it, and they were like, oh no. They were just laughing though.
Amazing.
So, I'll put that down, but it's been really nice. Yeah, probably like Kofi Annan, I think.
That's
just because he was a G.
Amazing.
That's no slight to Greg James at all, because
Yeah.
he's such a polite fella and really, really nice guy and stuff.